Purple is the color of the night sky right before dawn, when the morning light comes to those sitting in darkness. And during the season of Advent, we wait for the light of heaven to touch earth. Purple is also the color of kings, and during Advent we took time to get ready for the King who was coming. The prophets pointed the way to the King hundreds of years before he came. Back then, they were pointing to Bethlehem. Something important will happen here that will change everything, they said. The prophets knew that this King who was coming would be different. They showed us his way of hope. By order of the governor, a census was to be taken, and Mary and Joseph had to travel the road to Bethlehem. They too knew that the King was coming, and they believed what the angel had told them. This King who was coming was not like other kings. He didn't come in robes riding on a great horse. He came inside the belly of a young woman, and she was riding on a donkey. Mary and Joseph knew that this King who was coming was different. They showed us the way of faith. The shepherds were in the fields the night the King arrived, guarding their sheep. They were the first to receive the good news of his arrival. The angels filled the heavens with songs of glory, hallelujahs, and the shepherds, overflowing with joy, ran to Bethlehem to find the baby King. They knew that this King was different, and they showed us his way of joy. The Magi came from another land, far away in the east. They followed a wild star that took them to Bethlehem, where the King was to be born. But they had to travel such a great distance that it took them so long to arrive. And so it was that they didn't arrive until long after the child was born. But when they found the little King, they bowed down and worshiped him. For they recognized that he was no ordinary king. This was the Prince of Peace. The Magi showed us his way of peace. At last, the King we have been waiting for has come, and he changes everything. For he was a different kind of king who lived in a different kind of way. Born in a barn. It was in a box where animals feed. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son to be a light among us. The light of the world. The Son came to us with his arms open wide, full of the love of the Father. Oh, how much the Father loves us, that he calls us his children. And that is what we are. Oh, come, let us adore him. And now is the time of Epiphany, the discovery of something new. And this is exactly what happened to the Magi when they found the little king. They bowed down in awe and reverence and worshipped him, for they could see that he was no ordinary king. And so they brought him their very best gifts. They brought him gold, I wonder, Magi, when you gave King Jesus gold, did you know that he would be the king for all the peoples of the world, and that his kingdom would last forever and ever? The second gift that they gave him was frankincense. Frankincense is not a gift for an ordinary king, but for someone who is holy, because it is used in a holy space, a space where people pray to God in heaven. Watch what happens when the frankincense burns. Can you see the smoke coming up? Do you see it now? How it rises up to the sky. So it is with our prayers, the words of our lips and the desires of our hearts. When we bring them to our God, it connects us with Him. They rise up to heaven and connect us with Him. And it makes a sweet smell. Our prayers are sweet to our God. I wonder, Magi, did you know that Jesus was the Holy One who would connect us with our Father in heaven? Myrrh is the third gift that the Magi gave King Jesus. And it is the most precious and most expensive of all of the gifts, because it is used for so many things. It is a sweet smelling perfume It is a medicine for healing wounds. And it is something that is placed on the body when it has died. It is wrapped in linen cloths, and myrrh is placed around it, the spice of myrrh, and then the body is laid in the ground. I wonder, Magi, did you know that Jesus would be a sweet smelling perfume on this earth, spreading the fragrant ways of the kingdom of heaven? I wonder, Magi, did you know that Jesus would be like this medicine, healing people's bodies and their souls? I wonder, Magi, did you know about Jesus' death, and that is why he came to earth, to die on the cross for our sins? Is that why you brought him myrrh? I wonder what it was like when the Magi looked into the little King Jesus' eyes. I wonder if they felt and saw the love of God for them. Now watch as we change the light of Christmas. Those that have gone before us, the prophets, Mary and Joseph, the shepherds, the Magi. They all recognized that Jesus was a different kind of king who showed us a different way of living, a way of light. For God so loved the world that he sent his one and only Son to live among us, and he was crucified, died, buried, and rose again. And even though we can no longer see him, his Spirit is still with us and comes so close to us that we carry his light with us wherever we go. Jesus came loving you, and he says, as I have loved you, now you go and love one another.